Welcome back to Talk at the Bay. I'm Christine Barrington. Pride Month is June, and it's an annual celebration of the many contributions made by the LGBTQ plus community to history, society, and cultures worldwide. In most places, Pride is celebrated throughout the month of June each year in commemoration of its roots in the Stonewall riots of June 1969. Well, Santa Cruz Pride celebrations happened over this past weekend, and I have with me on the line Rob Darrow, chairman of Santa Cruz Pride, and together we're going to explore the history of Pride in Santa Cruz. And KSQD was on the ground at the parade on Sunday, capturing the celebratory vibe. So while Rob and I talk, we're going to pause and share some of the voices that we captured on the street. So Rob, are you there? Are you with me?
I'm here. I'm excited to hear the voices on the street. I saw you there for a few minutes, but I was walking by getting ready for the parade.
I bet there was a lot going on for you and all the fabulous organizers. I mean, the whole event just went off without a hitch, and it was just nothing but joy.
Yep, that's what we aim for.
Well, you succeeded. So, Rob, when we spoke before this interview, you were talking about how there's actually a pretty interesting history of Pride in Santa Cruz, and you wanted to share that with our listeners. Where does it all begin, the history of Pride in Santa Cruz?
Well, I think you brought part of it up on the intro there, where Stonewall started in 1969, that Stonewall riot. And the following year in New York, they had what they called the Christopher Street Parade, which was in 1970. That was the beginning of what came to be known as the Pride Parade. So that's 1970 with the big city of New York, and then Chicago, L.A., and then Santa Cruz followed in 1975, so just about 5 years later. One of the first smaller cities to have a Pride Parade. And the rich LGBTQ plus history of Santa Cruz was part of that, as it is today.
Well, I noticed that many people had said that the turnout this year was really great. What was your perspective? And like, how many years have you been a part of Santa Cruz Pride?
Just about 3 years. My first year was really the virtual parade in 2020 when the pandemic hit. And then the following year we did a picnic because, again, we weren't sure about the pandemic. And then our first parade was last year since the pandemic, and then this year. So really three and a half years.
And what inspired you to get involved and take this pretty wonderful celebration on? But it's a lot to put on. Help our listeners know what's all about.
You brought up the history part. That's where I come from, the history and the education piece. My background's all in education. And it's important for all communities to celebrate all the cultures that exist in their communities. And across Santa Cruz County, the LGBTQ plus culture has been an important part of the development of Santa Cruz, as much as Santa Cruz has been important in the development of the LGBTQ plus culture. So in my mind, that's what we celebrate every year. And we just hope to keep making it better and better as we lead up to our 50th anniversary in 2025.
Wow, 50 years. I've been telling people that, and many expressed surprise. They're like, really? Like Santa Cruz, has a parade or a public event been happening for 50 years?
Yeah, it has.
How do so many of us miss that,
And it's amazing because it's generally been, volunteers in the community, and, different years, different people have run it, but it's, part of it's the passion behind the reason for it and the history that, it's about visibility and celebration, and we don't want that to ever die,
right.
For sure. And in those early years, as we've talked before, was, protests and standing for equal rights. We're thankful around Santa Cruz County and our state of California that those rights are much written in law, unlike they are in other states. But we celebrate that around here as well. I mean, and I think part of the evidence of that, I'm not sure if you were there for the Abbott Square celebration of the Grand Marshals, but, Congressman Jimmy Panetta there, Senator John Laird, Assemblywoman Gail Pellerin, Supervisor Justin Cummings, and then our Mayor Fred Keeley all had, special accolades for our Grand Marshals, and their presence, validates the importance of this event for our entire community.
Yes, it was. I was there, and it was full. There were many, many people there, and the speakers were facing away from me, but I caught some of it, and it was really wonderful to see, that show of official support. And also on Abbott Square, you had some drag queen shows, right? So you had two performers that have been in the news lately. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yep, Rogue Roulette and Sinistra were the two drag performers that were at the Drag Story Hour that took place in Watsonville 2 weeks ago. And prior to that, an anonymous letter got printed, and some people decided to protest that event. But the event went off. It was great for the kids and the families that were there, but it caused some concern among our LGBTQ plus community. And now we're working through that a little bit. But yeah, they performed all weekend in a variety of places. We celebrate all the voices that we have in our queer community, and drag is certainly a part of that.
Certainly. And yes, you have many different events over the weekend. So Sunday was the big parade, kind of a culmination event. But could you describe the different events that actually go on before the parade?
Absolutely. So traditionally, on Saturday has always been the Dyke Trans March, which developed years ago as a different form of protest than the actual parade and festival. So that's always traditionally been on Saturday. For the past 2 years, we've worked to develop and create collaborations with other groups so that it can be like a 3-day celebration, so that for somebody coming into town, there's something to do each day. So, like on Friday, there was drag story time at the Childish store in downtown Santa Cruz, which was great. Mm-hmm. And then that evening, there was a Majesty event they called it Pride Majesty at Motion Pacific. And again, that's more drag performers, similar drag performers doing different acts and that sort of thing. I don't know how many of the drag acts you may have seen, but in some ways, drag is an act of protest, and they often can make fun of some of the issues that have gone on as well. And then on the day itself, we also had Youth Pride. The Rainbow Alliance at Santa Cruz High put on a drag show for more young people. And yeah, that pretty much covers all those different issues. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Wow, it just sounds incredibly rich. And I was out of town on Friday and Saturday, but I've got it in my calendar for next year. We're going to be on the ground and going to all of those events to
we look forward to that.
Yes, and to really experience that. You talked about visibility, and I was thinking about, the Stonewall riots and how despite, progress in the post-war era, civil rights for gay people was really low priority in this nation, and really there was a lot of resistance to those civil rights being conferred. And so, that coming out and staying visible just does seem to be a point of pride, right? It's very, very important to remain visible. And so many of the people, I interviewed people before the parade, and I noticed it was really interesting that talking to people before the parade, they were mentioning the rising sense of polarization and hatred that they are seeing across the nation. And then as we got into the parade, the emotions transferred and transformed into joy and inspiration. And it was really something to witness that shift. So I have a few individual voices that I'd like to play, and then we can talk about what we hear. Okay.
I'm a member of the 60-plus Diversity Center contingent, and I'm here to march with them and also to honor my late mom, who was a lesbian before it was cool.
My name is Lisa Flynn. I'm a lesbian transgender woman, and I'm here because I love partaking in queer events. I just love this part of community, being together with people who are out and open and enjoying the world.
It seems pretty important to be joining together, especially right now when the atmosphere in the United States is becoming so frighteningly polarized, and I see your hands over your heart. Are you willing to speak to that a little bit and why events like this really matter?
Absolutely, and I agree with you completely. It's scary. There's scary stuff going on right now. I gave a speech about that yesterday at the Dyke Trans March, about how horrible things are going in this country right now. We're being attacked relentlessly across the country. Anyone hearing this, if you want help in any way, just call your representative and say, hey, I want you people to do more to help the trans people across this country because we're under relentless assault.
My name is Jane. I'm a queer trans woman from Santa Cruz. I'm so happy to live in California because it's generally just a lot safer than 90% of the country. It's terrifying, and I try not to, get stuck looking at the news and, trying not to fall down that spiral. But it's harder and harder to be strong, especially as a queer person. We're tired, we're just in survival mode for so long. It's hard to just live, and, hopefully Pride is that chance to, even if just for a day, just to, live without that worry, or at least push that worry to the back burner for now.
Sure. I'm G. Schultz, and I've been coming here since like the 80s. And I love it. It's sort of the queering of downtown. I see many, many friends here, and it's fun. It's festive. It's a lot of good feelings here.
My name is Ember, and I'm here with my partner Dave and my two kids, Rowan and Palmer, and we're really excited. It's the kids' first Pride, but I've been going to Pride since I was 12 years old, so it feels like home to be here today.
And it's always good to come home, isn't it?
It is. It's really good. It's so great to see all the people, and I'm so glad this is continuing, even despite the atmosphere of the world right now. It's such an important place to be today.
That seems to be the theme with everyone I'm interviewing is the awareness that in a general level across the nation, the heat has really been increasing and people feel less safe. But they're grateful to be here in Santa Cruz where it still feels safer, and celebrating seems to increase people's capacity to meet the moment.
Yeah, we have to sink into those places where we feel resilience, and this community has always been so strong and has overcome so much, and will continue to. We're stronger together.
We are stronger together. And in case you've just tuned in, you're listening to KSQD Santa Cruz on 90.7 FM. And those were the voices of individuals participating in the Pride Parade yesterday in downtown Santa Cruz. And my guest is Rob Darrow, chairman of Santa Cruz Pride. So, Rob, what went through your mind listening to these wonderful attendees?
Oh, my gosh. I just warmed my heart, sends chills down my spine. I mean, I know some of those people, so you got some great voices there. And they certainly represent the wonderful people that live across our county. So I would most agree with the one person who said that despite what's happening in other places, it's important for us to celebrate what we do have in our county here and throughout our state.
Yes, that was expressed a lot, that, celebration definitely increases resiliency. And I actually feel that if there were more celebrations like this in all communities, we would be doing better as a nation. We need a lot more dancing and a lot more joy.
Yeah.
Yes. And
so it's kind of hard, we can control a lot in our own community. We don't have a whole lot of control across the nation. So that's what I keep reminding myself. That's what keeps me going around here, is to keep building on the traditions that we have around our county. And like many of the speakers said, that we've all worked on this together over the years. So we're not going back in our county and throughout our state for sure, like they're doing in other states.
Yeah, when you talked about that we don't always have power nationally, but we have power locally, it reminded me of a quote from the activist Craig Schoonmaker. So he claims that he authored the word pride for gay pride. And he states when he was thinking about it, he first thought gay power, but he didn't like that. So he proposed pride, saying there's very little chance for people in the world to have power. People didn't have power then, and even now we only have some. but anyone can have pride in themselves, and that would make them happier as people and produce the movement likely to produce change. I just loved that quote. I'm always thinking about, what can we do as a people, we the people that have very little power in real terms. How do we create the change we want to see? And loving ourselves, having pride in ourselves and our communities and in all the members of our communities gives us a special kind of power.
Absolutely. Yep. You created all the right words to talk about why we celebrate Pride every year in Santa Cruz, for sure.
So there were like 57 different contingents in the parade this year. That was a really excellent turnout. There were acrobats. It was really fun as we were all lined up, and we could hear the noises out in the distance, and and we could tell things were going by, and then these acrobats popped up above everybody's heads. It was just incredible. And so I interviewed a few people from some of the groups that showed up, and how about we have a listen to this?
Oh, great. I can hardly wait.
Okay, here we go.
My name is Jane Suby, and I'm actually affiliated with a number of groups here in Santa Cruz. But today I'm marching with the NAACP. What's in my heart is community and freedom, and it's especially important to come together this year because our freedoms are under attack in a way that they have not been, and I never expected that I would see it like this again. I thought we had gotten well beyond the kind of hate that we're seeing in other states. So here in California, here in Santa Cruz, we're uniting, and that's what's in my heart.
Well, my name is Steve Plach, and I'm a board member for the ACLU of Santa Cruz County in Northern California. I think what's in my heart is compassion and concern and wanting to make sure that LGBTQ plus rights are respected and recognized in this country. The more that we stand up and speak out, I think the more we'll be able to preserve those rights for folks, which, as you know, in this country are really being questioned by folks, and I don't think that's necessarily the right direction for our country to proceed in. But the ACLU wants to know that we're with them all the way, and this is an expression of that for us today.
So we are here with the Teen Kitchen Project, and we have a young lady here. So why is the Teen Kitchen Project marching in the Pride Parade?
Because we support everyone.
That's a great answer. You look pretty happy. Oh, it's getting fun. The wild librarians are here. Oh my goodness, with their decorated book carts. That's fantastic. That's the way to do it, right? It's nice, our poor school librarians under a lot of fire, right? Yeah. So, and you're the contingency next to them. And tell me your name. And
my name is Angela Farley, and I'm the executive director of Teen Kitchen Project. And Teen Kitchen Project is proud to be here to support everybody in all of the ways that they love and take care of themselves and their safety. And we support all of it, and we want to be visibly here for the youth to see that we take their side.
My name is David Tremblay, and I'm a school librarian. And we're here just to represent a safe space for all students with their stories and actual physical space so that people feel welcome wherever they are. Right now, there's kind of a national dialogue that's attacking a lot of students and making them feel uncomfortable. And so we want to make sure we're here representing the opposite of that, a safe place and a place for all stories.
Tobin Keller, Cabrillo College. In my heart, there's a lot. It's kind of overwhelming with joy and pride. We've been participating in the parade for many years, and I think this is the first time that I'm overly excited about participating because there's so much going on. There's so much going on, not just in the world, but in the country. I feel so safe and so proud to be in Santa Cruz. I'm a little isolated, but I'm here to support as many of our friends, siblings, and neighbors and community as possible. And Cabrillo College, soon to be a different name, is such a proud sponsor and such a proud component of Pride 2023.
And in case you've just tuned in, you are listening to KSQD Santa Cruz on 90.7 FM. This is Talk of the Bay. I'm Christine Barrington, and we are revisiting the Santa Cruz Pride events that happened over this past weekend, and those were the voices of contingency leads who led their groups marching in the parade. And my guest on the line is Rob Darrow, chairman of Santa Cruz Pride. So that was really fun hearing from those different groups. What did you think? I mean,
yeah, that was much more reflective, that group of. In response to that group, I'm feeling a little sad, and it causes me to think, what would that dialogue have sounded like 6 years ago, or 4 years ago, or 8 years ago? And I'm thinking, would those voices still have been the same? There's the division across the states is really disappointing for sure. Those are the voices I heard this time around.
When you say that, what do you imagine about how it might have been different 6 years ago?
Yeah, I think prior to the Trump presidency, the dialogue was much different than that.
What was it like? Just less.
Yeah, I think it was more respectful. Especially after the Supreme Court passed the Same-Sex Marriage Act and all the different pieces of legislation that were passed was all supportive and that sort of thing for LGBTQ plus people. And there was really a national dialogue about, we're working towards, true equality for all people. And then somehow it's slowed down or stopped or has gone maybe gone a different direction is a better word.
You mean the progress for LGBT?
Yeah, the conversation.
Yes, absolutely.
It's really just, the way voices get elevated, and I guess that's the other piece is the role of social media, and so much media plays into this now that it did, say, even 6 years ago, is probably part of the challenge as well.
Yeah. So what I'm hearing you say is you're hearing reflected in what people are sharing this rising discomfort that we're all recognizing that LGBTQ rights and respect and honor for just living life the way that makes sense and feels right is under attack, yes, in the media. And I think we don't really know what the nation is thinking as a whole, because a lot of times these groups that are very loud and vocal and aggressive, they get an outsized voice, and yet the data, if we start digging, it's a lot the same with the climate crisis that, when you dig down, the American people really want action on the climate. And when you dig down, I don't know what the statistics are, but the voices that are getting a lot of airtime are disturbing, which is why it's so wonderful to have a chance to let people speak to what they believe in and have it be seen.
Yeah, I think the other piece is that, that national dialogue that was talked about there is also heard by, our young people that, in our high schools and people who are, coming out themselves, and they hear those things from other places, and they, as a younger person, you don't realize how to take that in context, and you kind of quickly generalize that everybody feels that way, which is not true. So that's part of our challenge, I think, as part of Santa Cruz Pride and our different queer organizations across Santa Cruz County, is to make sure that everyone knows that they've got a place here in Santa Cruz County and that all their voices are important.
May I ask, so I don't know a lot about the Santa Cruz Pride organization aside from these events that they put on. Are there ways that you have like education initiatives? You said you're an educator. Are there initiatives to collaborate with the community, increase education, and partner with groups to help young people have that context?
So I wear several hats across Santa Cruz County, and the other hats I wear as part of our Safe Schools project that works with schools and school districts to make all of our schools inclusive for all students, but especially for LGBTQ plus students. We do trainings with the schools and work with schools and school districts and doing workshops for teachers and things like that. And there's the Queer Youth Leadership Awards that happens every year that honors queer youth that have done a great job. There are over 25 years that they've been doing that. Our Diversity Center has been here since 1989. They do some work and support for the LGBTQ plus student clubs that exist. All those. So there's lots of different support systems that have developed across Santa Cruz County, especially for young people. So those are the other items I'd mentioned. And I guess I'd also just bring attention to whoever's listening that we have laws in place in California that do not exist in other states. As an example, in 2011, we passed a law saying that all history teachers should be teaching LGBTQ plus history in our schools. And we're still working on that. Not that teachers don't want to do it. It's just that most people did not grow up knowing LGBTQ plus history because it wasn't taught to them in their schools. So those are all different initiatives and different ways that we build this into the fabric of our community and into our schools as well, that every school, every community should be a safe and inclusive place for everybody who lives there.
So I love hearing that. It's such a relief to know that California right now has those laws in place. And I think it's important for all of us to stay engaged, stay connected, because we're seeing that laws can change, things can go backward. And so we need to stay engaged to really lift up the privilege of having legal protection for all people. And I'm so glad that you mentioned that.
Right. And we're, for anybody listening, we're not going back in California, and we're not going back across Santa Cruz County. But that might happen in other states. It's not going to happen in this state.
I love hearing that.
So we're happy about our bubble. We've all talked about our bubble. It's a concern because other states, I guess the flip side of this is other states don't understand why the laws we have in place in California are so important to celebrate the diversity of the people that are in our states. And by separating out different groups with laws that ban books or other things like that, you're setting aside a population of people that can better contribute to being a diverse society that will improve our society as a whole. So they're missing out on that. So that's why it's so positive what's happening in California. And I would say it's not just California. New York's got some of those same laws. Illinois has got some of those same laws. Other states are doing similar work as California.
Oh, it's so wonderful to hear that that's so much to celebrate and to feel comforted by. And so, Rob, I did a little montage, a little 4-minute montage of the parade so people could get a feel for what it's like. So shall I give that a roll? And then when we end, we'll have a moment to wrap up and look forward. Here we go.
Great.
I'm Christine Barrington with Talk of the Bay, and I want to invite you to walk with us, the K-Squid contingency, along the parade route of Santa Cruz Pride 2023, and just enjoy the joy pouring out of our Santa Cruz community. The bubbles are floating, the boas are flowing, the rainbows are waving, and the parade has begun. We are listening to Begale, Bay Area Gay and Lesbian Ensemble. And we are here with KSQD Radio, turning from Cathcart onto Pacific, seeing all the happy faces of Santa Cruz community celebrating Pride. Tell you, it's pretty sweet to be seeing all these wonderful people supporting our LGBTQ plus community with their rainbow colors on. Hi, I'm with KSQD Radio, and I'm playing a show tomorrow celebrating Pride. Is there anything you'd like to say about what's in your heart as you watch the parade go by?
It just makes me want to cry. Seriously, I've been near tears, which is shocking to see all this community come out and support each other for all human rights for all people, but specifically the LGBTQ community. We have a trans person in our families.
It's so important to feel loved and safe in a community.
In the community, yes, absolutely. Thank you.
What's in your heart as you're watching the Pride Parade?
Oh, so much joy and love, and I just feel for those people that don't have a community like this, and I pray for them that they'll have that, that they'll find it. So, thank you.
I am grateful that our community has survived and thrived so well. And it's exciting that we're able to be out and acknowledge people that help make this all happen.
We have a beautiful butterfly dancing behind us, a monarch butterfly. It's just gorgeous.
Blue Angels flyover a minute ago.
Really?
No.
I'm with KSQD Radio. Would you like to say what's in your heart as you watch the parade go by?
Love and joy, so much joy. It makes me so happy. This is Bailey.
Full of love and joy, too.
He's a Boston Terrier.
A Boston Terrier. Aw, well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And what's in your heart today?
Love. Absolute love.
And what's in your heart today as you watch the parade go by?
Love. Mm-hmm. I don't know specifically. I'm getting a lot of love and joy.
Love it?
Love being here. Love that it's happening year after year. So happy to be here.
We love everybody.
Joy.
Inspiration.
Perfect.
Pride and celebration.
Oh, I'm so happy for everyone here and that so many people have come out to support. The streets are packed and we just love all of our community.
I'm so happy to be a part of such a big community of people that is just so full of love and pride and joy, and it really just makes my heart so happy. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you.
Hi, I'm with KSQD Radio. Would you be willing to share how you're feeling as you watch the parade go by?
This is awesome. I really appreciate it. And I love it. It's cool. It's really cool. Really cool? Yeah. It's very colorful. Yeah.
How are you feeling as you watch this beautiful parade go by?
It's amazing getting to be myself and be with other people like me, especially in a year like this. I can't even put it into words. It's amazing. So thank you for being here. Thank you. Thank you.
And here we are at the end of the parade route. It's pretty wonderful. If you haven't taken part in a parade, a Pride Parade event, don't miss it. It's really heartwarming. So there we are. We experienced the parade, pretty extraordinary levels of love and connection. That's what Santa Cruz Pride does for our community.
Thriving and some emotions coming out there. That's pretty awesome.
It was really beautiful. And so I thank your organization for giving our community a chance to experience that. And we look forward to next year in June for Pride 2024. Thank you.
That's great. We look forward to seeing everybody there.